In today's video, I'm talking about used Teslas, battery degradation, high milers, plus tips and advice on what to look out for if buying a used Tesla, plus modified Teslas and a whole bunch more. But let's start here. A second-hand Tesla, is it worth it? With me to discuss is Tim, a former petrol head turned charge head with his own YouTube channel and the proud owner of Rusty the Model 3, who clearly likes to identify as Rusty, even though he isn't. What a crazy world we live in. Hello, Tim. How are you?
How you doing, buddy? Yeah, good to see you. It's been a little while.
It has, yeah. We've met a few times, haven't we? Fully charged and a couple of other events, but I thought it'd be nice to get together again and just have a chat. So I know you're the man to talk to about a used Tesla, because obviously you bought one yourself. So tell me a bit more about Rusty.
Yeah, so Rusty bought it 3 years ago. I bought it with 56,000 miles on her. It's Tesla Model 3, long range. It was a pleasant surprise that it had full self-driving on it, which I found out once it was connected to the Tesla system, which was great. And I use it all the time. And now it's done 119,400 miles. So she's done a few.
Yeah. So any trouble with it since you bought it?
No, not really. I mean, literally just bushes. Probably a few of my own issues that I've made along the way. So I lowered it on IBAC springs, which knackered the shock. So I've recently fitted some mountain pass performance coilovers, which are made by KW, a German brand, which are amazing. I've done a recent video on my YouTube channel about them. Really, really good stuff.
What does that change? What does that alter?
Well, they're comfort coilovers. So normally coilovers make the ride quite harsh, but these are comfort. So they're good for the British roads, which if anyone has visited UK or is on the UK roads know that they're full of holes and they're rubbish. But essentially it's to lower the vehicle and make it a bit more sporty, but it doesn't lose any of the comfort. So yeah, testament to mountain pass performance for their tuned suspension, really.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, not everyone likes the idea of fitting coils, do they? But in cars, perhaps. So you also mentioned it's done 120,000 miles, did you say?
It's literally 500 shy of the warranty. So, a lot of people might get really, really worried about that. But with all the information that's out there now, I think people realize that the longevity of certainly the Model 3 is really, really strong. Well, funnily enough, I was just talking to you about it, that I was looking to buy another one today, which had a 216,000 miles on it. And that wouldn't worry me, because I know that they have got, there's a lot of data out there to prove that they are, they're quite happy to go 400,000 miles plus. So yeah, I'm not worried.
But you've also done a degradation test, haven't you, for your battery? Yes. I remember watching one of your episodes. It was fascinating. I remember it being super noisy, like all through the night, wasn't it, while it was taking place?
Yeah.
Worried about your neighbours.
Yeah. So basically on the channel, I've done about 3 or 4 different battery degradation tests. One of which is the official Tesla one, which you're quite right. It does take about 24 hours to do, because it discharges the battery and then charges it back up again. And it does make quite a lot of noise as it discharges the battery. And then the Tesla system, you have to put it in service mode. It does give you a result at the end. But I've done various other tests just to see which ones are accurate and just to get a really good reading of what the battery degradation is. And 107,000 miles, which is the last time I did it, it came out a score of 89%, which was probably the best test that I did, which was with Altelium, which is supposed to be one of the best EV tests on the market, bolstered with the fact that Ewan McTurk, who's a bit of a battery specialist, if the guys know him there, Dr. Ewan.
He's excellent.
Yeah, he says that that's the best one out there. So I spoke to them and that's what it is. So I'll be doing another one soon, no doubt.
Cool. So the normal process of battery degradation, then, for people who don't know, usually with Tesla, your first sort of 50,000 miles of the vehicle, you lose quite a bit, and then it just tails off for the next couple of 100,000 miles. It's very flat. So my car at the moment, Bruce, he's done just 50,000 miles. So Bruce. It's probably just Bruce. My kids named him. Basically, the number plate sort of says Blue Ocean. And then it sort of ended up being Finding Nemo, and then Bruce the Shark.
Hello.
That's the story of it. So anyway, it's probably lost most of its degradation by now. But it's pretty normal, isn't it, just to tail off? And usually, if EVs are going to have sort of any battery issues, it's early days, isn't it? It's when things go wrong. So I mean, what are some of the highest mile Teslas you've seen? Because I seem to remember you're running into someone with like 300,000 miles. Is that right?
Well, no, there's a chap that a friend of mine, Andrew. He's got a Tesla Model 3 Stealth. So it looks like a long range, but it's actually got the performance rear motor and the performance calipers and a few other bits. And he bought that one. It was actually a car that was on Cleveland EV that they serviced and tested. And yeah, his battery degradation, it's about 85%. I literally spoke to him the other day because he was keen to understand how much the high mileage one that went through the BCA auction today went for, just to understand value of his. And he's got 60 kilowatt hours left of the 77 kilowatt hour battery. 60 kilowatt usable. But you're absolutely right. It does kind of tail off. So it's like the first year it does tend to lose at least sort of 8%, and then it kind of tails off. And something that was really, really interesting that came off the back of a video I did with a chap from Altelium is with the battery degradation, it tends to be worse with age, but not with mileage. And this is why I always say to people, look, when you're buying a used Tesla or any electric car, bar a Nissan Leaf, which doesn't have thermal management on the battery, is go for a car that's, yes, in the budget, but don't necessarily go for a lower mileage. Go for a newer one with a higher mileage, because the battery is more likely to be better in terms of degradation. But you can do, again, I'll mention Altelium again, because they have a remote battery test that you can do. So you can test the battery before you purchase it, generally speaking, unless you're crazy like me and want to buy something out of BCA auction house, although they do have their own battery tests to give you a bit of peace of mind anyway.
Well, I'll be selling mine soon, so don't tell everyone. Yes, 50,000 miles.
We will do a battery degradation test.
I know I should do. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I guess I should do a video on it at some point. Of course, mine, doesn't have it has the Tesla battery management system, obviously, but it doesn't have the heat pump. So I do suffer quite a bit in winter. But God, I still love it so much. I mean, I'm considering getting a new 3 or a new Y now, because it's 5.5 years old. But God, every time I drive it, it's just like a brand new car still. I feel so stupid for even considering swapping it and buying a new car, because it still feels brand new. Yeah, the power and performance of it, and there's plenty of range for what I need it to do. But damn Tesla, just keep bringing out these these amazing new vehicles. And
that Y looks amazing.
God, it's amazing. Yeah, I was so shocked actually to see it, because I didn't really like the back of it when I first saw it. I sort of did, but then you see it in the flesh and it just makes a lot of sense. It looks beautiful. That light, just the afterburner effect on the floor that it projects is really cool. And just it's got a nice little I don't know what they call it, just the plate that goes on the back where it says Tesla. The lighting on it is nice. It's almost carbon fibery. It's got tiny little detail. You can rub your nails on it and it makes a noise. Details. But I thought it was beautiful in the flesh. And
I mean, the only disappointment,
very tempting,
if anything, was the fact they didn't change the battery technology. But I'm sure, knowing Tesla, they will change things moving forward, upgrade it and that sort of thing. And that's what I love about the Tesla. When it gets its update, you're like, oh, new features. Features. It's great. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, that's it. I mean, I don't, obviously the past 5.5 years of having my car and yours too, we've constantly had upgrades, but you imagine like really old Model S's and stuff, and they're also getting upgrades. They seem to get newer as well with time. It just it makes the idea of buying a new car seem a bit strange unless you're obsessed like I am, but I probably will at some point. So getting back to the used market then. So what else do you recommend people look for when they're looking to buy a new Tesla? I mean, would you recommend old Model S and X's? Is there any issues there, or what do you think?
I mean, obviously with the new shape Model S and Model X, you've got the left-hand drive conundrum. But in terms of Model S and X, they do a Raven model in the later versions, and the technology and a lot of the features on those cars were far superior to the previous models. Something that I would be highlighting is probably stay away from the older 85 kilowatt hour battery, because the 85 kilowatt hour battery, the motors did suffer from, I think it was liquid coolant into the internals, which isn't ideal. So I'd strongly recommend sticking to your sort of 70, 75 and the 90s. My kind of specialty really is more on the Model 3 side. And like you mentioned earlier, ideally go for one with the heat pump from a range point of view. But if you're not too worried about performance, which I am, because I'm a massive car nut and I love power, which we can talk about later, but just go for a 21 plate LFP battery Tesla Model 3. So 2021, you get the heat pump, you get the LFP battery, and the benefit of that battery isn't the fact that it's safer. And if you're worried about the cobalt side of things, it doesn't have any of that in it. But also the LFP batteries, there's more potential for cycles of the battery, whereas like a NMC battery, the older style battery, they say roughly 1,500 cycles of the battery from 0 to 100. That's what they're kind of due to be replaced, or they're supposed to last to. But the LFP battery is at least twice that. So from a longevity point of view, if it is a used car, you're just going to run and run and run. You want to run it into the ground, then the LFP battery is the one to go for.
Yeah, good advice. I'd just add to that you can also charge it to 100% with no worries at all. Whereas my batteries on the older Teslas, you're supposed to just charge to 80% in order for to keep battery longevity. So okay, that's good advice there, Tim. Obviously, you go to a lot of EV car meetups and things like that. You see lots of modded Teslas and lots of accessories on them. So explain the world of modified Teslas then.
Well, I've always been a car guy, and I've always had this addiction, which is basically modifying cars. Been doing it for years. I've had lots of Japanese cars, Honda Integra, which I thought was a great idea to turbo it. Lots of drift cars, which bigger turbos and suspension and all the rest of it. And this is one of the main reasons why I bought the Tesla, is because of the opportunity of the number of aftermarket parts you can fit on the vehicle. Although my Tesla Model 3 hasn't got big body kits and things like that, because it is an everyday vehicle, but it has actually got quite a few modifications on it. Like I mentioned, the coilovers, it's actually a long range, but it's got performance discs and calipers on it with track pads, because the long range brakes aren't the best, especially if you're driving in Mexico, having a little play. It's got something called Engine X Boost 50, which is the same performance power as the Tesla acceleration boost, but it also gives you a number of other features. So being able to turn off the traction control, being able to put it in real drive mode only, being able to open the doors as you walk up to it. There's quite a few other bits like that. It's got unplugged front splitter. So it hasn't got a big body kit, but it has got something to make it look a bit more aesthetically pleasing, different rear spoiler. And these aero caps that I put on, because the roads in the UK are awful, and I've had big wheels and thin profiles in the past, which tends to be quite a big thing in the car community. But I'm obviously getting to that age, 43 now, and I like a bit of comfort. So these aero caps can be put on, a bit like the Tesla ones, but they make the wheels look a bit bigger, like aero discs that Rotiform do, which look rather smart. And to finish that off, very recently, to the much of a disgrace to many people on Instagram, it seems, where I've got lots of hate for it. I did a deal with Top Gear and recently fitted a Thor triple exhaust sound system on it, which it was a bit of a promotion deal. I got it for free. It's great, but it's so much fun. So you can make loads of different noises, whether it's V8, M3, but it does have some really cool electric noises, which I like to play around with. Stuff like jet noises, loads of other different ones. And if anyone's interested, just check out the channel, because we've got a few sounds on there. But it's just a great laugh. Cool. And having these meets where sharing similar passions around modifying a Tesla is great fun.
Yeah, well, I went to my first one just a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was fantastic, really good. And a couple of guys had got the some sounds coming out of their cars too. I felt quite strongly that I thought that was just a silly idea to do. But then when I took the Mini out, John Cooper Works out, and the sounds in there, I had a lot of fun, and it was just being pumped through the speakers. It does sort of change the experience for you, doesn't it? And if I could get a Starship noise coming out of my Tesla, I think I might enjoy that. So well, I guess I won't knock it till I try it.
I'll bring mine around and do the noises for you. But obviously there's a safety concern here as well, Will, because mine's a 2019. And I don't know if you've ever, I think yours is pre-2021, so it doesn't have any noise at all.
19, yes, original.
Yeah, when there's lots of pedestrians around and they can't hear you, You could argue
Yeah.
that actually from a safety point of view, and so, someone mentioned on the video that even his Tesla boom, like the standard Tesla one, isn't loud enough for people to hear. And trust me, when I turn on a big V8 noise or the jet engine noise, people know that you're there. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I just use my horn if there's an old lady in front of me. I'm like, she's she knows I'm there. I don't do that. Let's round this up then. So I'm going to do a quick plug for Supercharged on the 28th of June. So that's Tesla Owners UK like main event. So if anyone's out there, you've got a Tesla, or even if you've not, come along. And there'll be a concours d'elegance of these lovely Teslas. Tim, hopefully you'll be there and bringing Rusty along. Cool.
Oh,
and
yes,
also, I'm going to Belgium, somewhere in Belgium. I don't actually know where I'm going, to a Tesla light show that's been put on by Simon Pollock of Tesla Light Shows. That's on Sunday, the 23rd of February. If anyone wants to meet up in Belgium, there's going to be 1,000 Teslas meeting up to do a massive light show. And we've got drones and everything, so that's another event. And is there any other car meetups coming up, Tim, that you can
we try to have monthly events, so if anyone is looking for the events, just jump on. Normally it's on either the Chargeheads UK Facebook group, or I'll mention it on the YouTube channel. So yeah, just keep your ears and eyes open, because more the merrier. And it's not just for Teslas, we have other EVs turn up as well, whether it's i3s, Ioniq 5Ns, and also a couple of EV conversions as well, which is always good to see.
All right, well, Chargeheads UK is a YouTube channel focused on electric vehicle conversions and modified EVs, catering to enthusiasts interested in electric performance and custom builds. So if that sounds like it floats your boat, then head on over to Chargeheads UK and check out Tim's videos. So thanks very much for joining me, mate. I'll see you on the next one. I'm Will. This is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, Patreons. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.